Social anxiety is a scam. It's an alternative reality created by our brains, which they just want us to be held prisoners in an invisible prison cell. They want us to believe that talking to people is always gonna be hard. That voice always tells you that you have nothing important to say. You can't take charge of a conversation. You can never be charismatic. But that's nothing more than an illusion. And you have to understand that your unconscious, the unconscious part of your brain, has so much power over you that you can't even imagine. And in order to understand this, let me tell you about a story that it's absolutely mind-blowing. It fascinated me. It's about amputees and it happens in the past century sometime. When there was a weird situation where a lot of amputee patients would come to the doctor with excruciating pain in their missing limbs. Like, just imagine a guy that has his arm cut off from the elbow and he feels excruciating pain in the fingers that don't even exist anymore. Yeah, we can both agree that that's not a very real situation. Objectively, there is nothing to feel the pain about, right? But to them, it just felt real, and that's how social anxiety works as well. There is no prison, but we feel the walls of the prison. We feel trapped, we feel resistance, we feel a lot of tension and pressure when we have to talk. That's just an illusion that can't be unlearned, because in the amputee case, there was this doctor that was very intrigued by the topic, and he invested a lot of time into creating this box that had a mirror system inside, and amputees would have to place both their arms in, and they would be given the illusion that they have two limbs, they have two arms, right? And in the instance they saw that, their pain just dissipated. There was something that convinced them that there is nothing to feel the pain about. So this doctor was onto something big, right? He made a great discovery, and he figured that since their brains created this reality that's not even true, there has to be a way to unteach them, to make them believe that there is nothing to feel the pain about. So he created a set of practices and exercises and basically cured these patients from their pain, from their misery. Our brains are so powerful. And it's our mission to take charge of them. It's our mission to realize that maybe a big part of what we believe about ourselves, about the world, is not true. There was also this story that I heard about a guy that, had the wife of his dreams, the kids, the career of his dreams, lived 20 or 10 or 20 fantastic years. And then he woke up from a coma and realized it was all a dream. He got attached to this family, to this perfect life. And then he woke up and realized that none of it was real. And he was obviously extremely depressed and sad after that, and quite rightly so. It's a devastating experience to go through. But again, it's just a byproduct of our brains. And they are so powerful that they make us believe stuff that's not even real. All of us have subjective versions of reality. Like, just imagine a circle, that's the objective reality, and then another circle that's slightly overlapping, right? They have a common part there. Just imagine it like this: the objective reality and our subjective perception. And there are like 8 billion subjective perceptions. Some are more close to the objective reality, some are further away. Now, since that's the truth, you don't have complete access to even the true version of you, right? So you can be whatever you want to be. You can't just come here and say that whatever you have to talk, whatever you want to talk about is not interesting, that people don't care about that you are a loser, that, you always have to be shy and introverted, that you always mess it up, that you are always awkward. None of this is true. It's just interpretations of your brain. It's just stuff that your brain wants you to believe. A part of your brain is feeding onto this feeling, onto your pain and misery. And you have to realize this. Oftentimes, when we go through stuff like this, there is a reason behind. We are trying to satisfy and to fulfill a certain goal, and This psychoanalyst in the past century named Alfred Adler came with this conclusion. There is a reason behind our social anxiety. And social anxiety is not a disease or a condition we have, but rather a tool that we are using and leveraging to avoid a situation that's even worse. Right? Like, think about it. If we're talking about amputees, like, what do you prefer? To have your arm cut out from here or just your hand from here? Like, this is the lesser evil, right? In the same way, you being shy, introverted, and reserved is not as bad as, like, you just taking the courage to talk to people, to go out there, to expose yourself to these dangerous situations. But are they really dangerous? Is your life in danger? Is your life threatened? Absolutely not. It's just an illusion again. You know, those situations where maybe you're quite afraid to hold a speech in front of several people, right? Let's say there are 10 people carefully listening to what you have to say. Everyone's quiet and just all eyes are on you. And you have to talk about a story about yourself or present yourself or stuff like that. And you just feel this pressure, this tension. Every part of your body, of your brain is telling you, let's just get out of here as quickly as possible. And those poisonous voices start saying stuff like, they don't care, you're a loser anyway, shut up. You have to take some humility and realize that a lot of the things you believe about yourself and about the world are not true. You have to gain new feedback, and that's the only way to do it. And you know, most people just want quick social skills advice that they can implement overnight and completely change their lives. Learn tips and tricks and tactics, and if you're a very logical person, you might want to do just the same, because that's how I've been for so many years. But the actual progress is more painful and messy than that. You have to trigger yourself, you have to expose yourself to social situations that you might see as being cringe or awkward. You have to expose yourself to those situations, and you have to mindfully convince yourself of a different version of reality. Because as we already established, you don't have access to the overall, like, objective reality. You have access to a version of it. So you can choose your version. You can choose to keep believing that you are a shy introvert, or you can choose to to start believing that you're a fantastic socializer, that you're charismatic, that you attract people to you, that talking to people is, like, not only not horrible, but actually comfortable. Talking to people is nice. Your social experiences are actually good. You don't feel pressure talking anymore. It's just like talking to your in your mind, to yourself, right? Or talking home alone, talking out loud. There's nothing to be afraid of. And these realizations only come if you expose yourself, if you take some time and have patience with the process and continue to expose yourself to triggering social situations that you can interpret differently than you previously interpreted them. Because you've probably been, like, creating this invisible prison cell for dozens of years, for tens of years. But you can break out of it, and you can convince yourself that there are no walls in probably a few months, maybe a year, maybe 2 years, right? But it's a much shorter period of time than the time you spend being a slave. And ultimately, are you okay with being a slave? Or are you just like, enough is enough, I'm tired of being so shy and all opportunities in life going past me because I'm too afraid to go ahead and engage in conversations and talk to people and expose myself to situations that might just be a bit more dangerous than doing nothing and being reserved and being invisible. Maybe it's just time to start taking some action. And if you do, and I really hope you do, then my channel will serve as a guiding tool in this journey, because it's not an easy journey. And I'll do my best through all of my videos to assist you. And if